Hello everyone, welcome to video. Today we're doing the mid-year freakout tag, which is the book tag at this time of year. It is basically just a bunch of questions about how your reading year is going so far, and we're gonna go through them and hopefully answer all of them. I have made some notes, I have done my homework, and I will leave the questions as well as the creators down below in the description if you want to check that out. And I would say, let's just get started with the first book question. Well, the question is about a book. Okay. The first question is, what is the best book you have read so far in 2025? And that is quite easy. I'm not going to pull out all of these books. Okay, editing me is going to have to figure this one out. But the best book I've read so far this year is All About Love by Bell Hooks. This is a non-fiction essay collection all about love, and she just talks about the importance of love, how popular media is kind of influencing our perception of love. It is talking about the importance of love and how we live in such a loveless society that it is hard for a lot of people to even properly express love, and it's just so beautiful, and I just love love. And this is just my kind of read. Okay, if it's about love in like a more intellectualized and complex manner, I'm gonna be into it. Okay, that's just who I am. And I learned a lot from this book. I find myself going back to it. I annotated the absolute hell out of it. It was the easiest 5 stars I've given so far this year. Okay, next up, the best sequel I've read in 2025, and that is Daisy Hates the Great Undoing by Jessa Hastings. This book, I had a little bit of a complicated relationship with these books last year. I read the first 2 in the beginning of last year, and then I didn't like the first Daisy Hates book, and I DNF'd it, actually. And eventually I was like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna give it another shot. Read Magnolia Parks A Long Way Home, devoured it, absolutely loved it. And then I read The Great Undoing, of which I was a little skeptical, because again, I DNF'd the first Daisy Hates book, but this was so good. I don't know what she did, what happened between Daisy Hates and Daisy Hates The Great Undoing, but Jessa Hastings put something on those pages. It was like crack to me, okay? I was eating it up. And the funny thing is, I have no desire to go back and like finish Daisy Hates. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. I'm good. I just still love this book so much. I loved all the characters. It added so much depth to the overall plot. One thing I didn't like about Daisy Hates was how separated from the rest of the characters it felt, and that wasn't the case in this one. So yeah, if you're, everyone says this is the best book in the series. Okay, I'm not reinventing the wheel here, but I still think it was awesome, and it deserves a shout out here. Next up, we have a new release you haven't read yet. For this one, I have 2 books. The first one is The Conditions of Will by Jessa Hastings. Everyone's been loving this book. Everyone says it's fantastic. Even the people that don't like Magnolia Parks, of whom I'm not one, say this is a great book. I'm so excited to read it. One thing about the Jessa Hastings books is that they're published in these ugly ass tall paperbacks. Why is publishing doing that? I do not understand. It is just not my vibe. And so I just haven't bitten the bullet and gotten myself a copy, but I'm definitely gonna read it. And then next up, I have The Vanishing World by Sayaka Murata. Sayaka Murata is a Japanese author, and I believe this book actually came out many years ago, but this is the first time it's been translated into English. And this one sounds so good. It is about a woman who wasn't conceived the proper way. She was conceived by love relation, okay? She wasn't just a fertilized embryo implanted into her mother. She was, like, her parents did sleep with each other, which is so inappropriate for a married couple. Oh my god. And she moves to a hippie commune. And honestly, do I need to know anything else? No. Okay, next up I have my favorite reread of the year. I've only reread 1.5 books. I reread Cinda, currently reading Scarlet, and this is the first 2 books of the Lunar Chronicles, which I have read. I think this is my 3rd time reading them now. Love these books. Cinda, But Scarlet, which I'm currently reading, still so good, one of my favorites in the series. I'm doing a reading blog for the series, but honestly, the rate I've been going, you won't be seeing that till December. And I'm very sorry about that. Next up, a genre you've been loving or reading the most. And this one is always a bit difficult for me because I'm not a huge genre-specific reader. However, I'm gonna go with classics. You could argue that classics are not a genre, and I wouldn't disagree with you, but for the sake of this question, I'm gonna say classics. I think according to Storygraph, I've read like 20 of them out of the 25 I've read. So I love a classic, and this year I've just been having a lot of mental energy because I'm not in university right now, and so I just have been using that to read a lot of books that usually are a bit too difficult for me or too much hard work to get into. I have here as question number 6 a new release you really want to get to, which I feel like is the same question as the new release you haven't read yet but really want to. So I'm going to skip that. Okay, number 7. Most anticipated release for the second half of the year. Haven't written anything down for it. No. I don't really keep up with new releases. I usually don't know anything about a new release until it gets like traction on social media with the people that I'm following. And so until that happens, I have no idea what's coming out. Which is fine by me because I don't love reading new releases. In my opinion, the chances of it being mediocre is just a lot harder. You know, because if it's a book that came out 20 years ago and people are still loving it, it's probably good. Maybe you know of any new releases that I should be reading. Leave them down below. Okay, number 8. The biggest disappointment. With this one, okay, this is gonna be controversial. Don't mind my mom vacuuming. 1 second. My mom's done vacuuming. Okay, my biggest disappointment. Don't cancel me, okay? I'm gonna go with Macbeth by Shakespeare. I don't know whether you can hear that, but I don't want to risk it, you know? The reason I'm gonna go with Macbeth is very simple. I would say that Macbeth is probably Shakespeare's like top 3 most favorite, most well-known, most well-loved plays of all time. Okay, I don't think that that is too presumptuous of me to say. And I really like Romeo and Juliet, probably one of my favorite stories of all time. Overall, I just like Shakespeare. I've read another play of his this year, which Othello, which I also liked. And so I just had high expectations for Macbeth, because I also feel it's not just popular in terms of how many people know it, also popular in terms of, I feel like a lot of people have this as like one of their favorite Shakespeare plays. I don't. It wasn't even like terrible. I gave it like 3 stars. It was just kind of boring in my opinion, and it felt very shallow. I don't know. It just, all the conflicts and everything just felt very convenient. I feel like all of the characters were so bland and unseasoned. I don't know. I just didn't have as good a time as I had hoped. Again, I didn't hate it. I'm glad that I've read it. I just think this wouldn't be a play I'd recommend for someone who wanted to get into Shakespeare, you know? Okay. Number 9 is my biggest surprise of the year, and that is My Husband by Maud Ventura. This was a very uncomfortable read. It is about a woman. We don't know her name. She's just the wife, and her husband is just her husband. And she's obsessed with her husband, okay? And like she does everything just to please her husband. And she tries to do whatever it takes to be a woman her husband can love. And she constantly thinks her husband's going to leave her. She's very obsessive over him. And I don't really read literary fiction that has such harsh themes of obsession. I don't think I've ever read anything like that. And I listened to this as an audiobook during my walks. And I don't know, something about it, I just didn't want to put it down. I couldn't put it down, and it was just such an out of the blue pick for me that I'd say this was my biggest surprise. Next. My new favorite author. I would say Gerald Durrell. I have only read one book of his, My Family and Other Animals, which is about when his family in the 50s packed all their shit in England and moved to Corfu, Greece. And it is part memoir of his family's time there, but also a lot about the environment and nature in Greece. And it was just so charming and funny, and it just felt like going on a vacation in Greece. And that made me happy. Okay, next up is my newest favorite character, and I don't have any particular standouts. Like, I really liked Julian in Daisy Hates a Great Undoing. What else? Who else? I really like Quinn and Madita in Vergiss mein nicht Part 2. I read a bunch of things where I liked the protagonists, but I wouldn't say I have any like standout I'm in love with these people now characters, you know? Next up is a book that made me cry, and that would be Happy Place, ironically, by Emily Henry. I was very emotionally invested whilst reading Happy Place. I'm not really sure why. Something about the themes and the way the characters all interacted with each other just really resonated with me, and I did cry. Looking back, I wouldn't say that Happy Place is a particularly great book, honestly, which is mean, but like it was fine, but in the moment I connected with it on a very deep emotional level, so it did make me cry. Okay, a book. Am I stupid? Oh, I think I mixed these two up because I already told you about the book that made me happy. Okay, I'm editing this footage right now, and I realized that I made a slight mistake. Okay, nobody's perfect. We're just gonna have to move on. I did already tell you about the book that made me happy that I had written down as an answer, which is My Family and Other Animals by Gerald Durrell. And I just thought, because I had already talked about that book, that meant I had answered this specific question about which book made me happy. I hadn't. But this is the answer. Let's move on. Okay, next up, the most beautiful book I've bought so far this year. I don't think I had, again, any particular standouts. I think I'm gonna go with Magnolia Park's Not the Great Undoing, The Long Way Home. I love this cover so much. The boat, the sea imagery, and just I love the title, The Long Way Home. There's a scene in the book where BJ talks to, I think, one of his friends, and he's like, I never thought that we wouldn't make it. Like, I just think this is the long way home, you know, as in him and Magnolia figuring shit out. It's so beautiful. I can't do it. And I really like this cover. What books do you need to read by the end of the year? I really want to finish my reread of the Lunar Chronicles, because honestly, so far the blog is turning out so well, and I wanna upload that. Other than that, I don't have any particular reading ambitions. I would really like to read 100 Years of Solitude this year, but if I did, I would want to do it in summer, and it already is summer, and that seems very immediate. My hair is falling apart. I don't know if you can tell. Ignore it. Summer seems very close, so I don't know if that's actually gonna happen. Other than that, no. Because I'm not a TBR girly. I just go with whatever I feel like in the moment. And sometimes I pick up books that I didn't think I'd pick up for 2 years, and sometimes I don't pick up something that I'd actually like to read immediately. So you'll have to stick around to see, I guess. Okay. My favorite video that I have made so far this year. This is easy because this is only the 4th video of the year. I liked all of the videos I've made so far this year, but I have to say the Qingdao vlog, this one, I had to leave China a little bit unprompted, unfortunately, and I went on that trip in December, and I just didn't feel like editing the footage. I wasn't even sure if it was ever gonna see the light of day. And I'm just so glad that I did, and I felt so creative editing that, and it just reminded me of all the good times I had in China too, because I didn't have too many of those before I left, and it was just a very emotionally healing experience to make that video. And yeah, I'm very excited. As I'm saying, the Lunar Chronicles vlog, that one's turning out pretty fun. Yeah, I definitely am excited for all the videos I'm gonna keep making this year. And then the last question, which is always the best question in my opinion, the favorite book community member. First of all, you need to leave yours down below right now. You go ahead. You know, just hit pause. I'll wait. I can wait. Tell me yours. Okay, I have 3 things written down. The first person has a YouTube channel. Her name's Lulu. Her YouTube channel is called Lulu Fish, I believe. Is that true? Did I just make that up? I think it's true. And she's just so sweet. She comments under all of my videos. I comment under all of hers. I'm genuinely always so excited when she uploads, and she just seems like the sweetest person. Okay, go give her some love. And then these two have already made it on the list last year, and that's Ariel and Raylene from the Books Unbound podcast. Books Unbound is still a staple in my life as of today. I listen to it religiously every single week. Every Monday, you best believe I'm going on my daily mental health walk and I'm listening to the new Books Unbound podcast episode. And I've actually just now started a project. I have gone back and I'm like starting to listen to the podcast from episode 1, because I started listening to it at like episode 150 and I've just been like keeping up with it from then, but I've never listened to like the beginning episodes. So all very exciting stuff. And then last but not least, oh god, I think something just fell out of the book, is Emma from the YouTube channel Emma Angeline. She is so fun and her videos are so well made. She has a film degree. You can 100% tell her videos feel so professional and at the same time so cozy and down to earth and authentic. And she reads a lot of classics as well, which is something I really appreciate, because a lot of recommendations I get from her I don't see anywhere else on Booktube, which is always something that I can appreciate. And she's very funny. Her videos are just so well made. I'm happy every time she uploads. And that's that. That is everything for the mid-year freakout tag. My next video is actually gonna be all the books I've read in 2025 so far. So if you're interested in learning more about my reading this year, stay tuned for that. And I will see you all in the next video. Have a nice day. Bye.